Alright, welcome back to your Oxygen Financial Dashboard. In the last video, we learned how to link various accounts, and in this video, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the other features that the dashboard offers. The first thing we want to point out is there is a settings button up here in the top right corner. The reason that's important is because there are certain things that you can set as far as alerts and whatnot. You have three tabs. You have the alerts tab that you can change various settings, and we won't go through each one. Security, where you can change passwords, phone numbers, and whatnot. And then the one that I really want to talk about is privacy. So all the dashboards are immediately set to not show any of your spending data to your financial advisor. That's default. If for whatever reason the conversation with your financial advisor needs to be a little more in depth, there are two other options. You can show your advisor just your overall category spending and budgets. It won't go into individual transactions. Or if you really have a spending problem and need to have someone hold your hand and talk about individual transactions, you can open up the full permission. So that's up to you as to which one you do. Since we're talking about spending, let's go back to the home page and talk a second about what some of the features are in the spending section. So now we only have one of our accounts linked here, our Wells Fargo account from the previous video, but you'll see it pulls that data in and it'll show recent transactions. And if you click on the view all here, or if you click on spending up here at the top, it'll bring you to the same page where it will go through and show you a nice little pretty pie chart, and it'll show you the different categories that it pulled data into. Remember, the categories are based on whatever the financial institution designates it at. So if, for example, you go to, I don't know, say QT, and Wells Fargo thinks QT is, you filling up gas, then it's going to put it as an auto-related category. Now, sometimes the financial institution doesn't know what the expense is, and that's when you see this unclassified section. So if you really want a fully functional dashboard, once in a while, once a week, maybe once a month, you can come in here and look for these unclassified. And the great news is that if you click on the particular items that are not classified, and down here you'll see you can view the related transactions. It will show you all of those. Now in this case it was a couple of checks. The system had no way of knowing who you wrote those checks to, so you would have to come in here and actually click on the category, and it has a bunch of pre-designated categories that you can select from and say, okay, that was a check for, I don't know, groceries, and it will change that amount and put it under the grocery section. So now you'll notice when we go back to our overview that $136 is now lumped in with food. Why food? Because when you click on food, it will break it down by the various groceries. If you look at the individual transactions, each one will show what they go to. A couple other features here in the spending section. You can look at your transactions and your spending by month, but it also lets you look at previous months. Lets you look at time frames. So if you wanted to look at a quarterly basis, you can put in whatever range you want. If you are just starting your dashboard, a lot of institutions do not pull data going way back, so it may only pull in data over the last 3 months or 6 months, but over time you will be able to look at those longer date ranges. You can also view by a specific category, so if you want to go through and see just a certain category, and once you have tons of accounts listed, if you want to just see a particular linked account and that spending, you can. One last thing before we close out this video is you do have the functionality of setting a budget. Now, I'm not a big fan of budgets, but sometimes they are needed and very helpful so that you can see really where your money's going to. If you click on the budget tab, it will bring up a screen that will let you go through and create line by line a budget, or you can click on create an auto budget where it'll take whatever the spending you've had to this point and sort of estimate it. So if we click on that create an auto budget, you'll see it took those items and it said, okay, here's bills and utilities. We've noticed from your transactions you spend about $337. If that is over time, if you find that that number is not accurate because you're spending more or less, like I said, you can manually create a line by line budget. If you've already got this budget set and don't want to go back through and delete the line items, you can click on the button and just change the amount that you want that budget to be, and it'll show you as you spend throughout the month how much is left for you to spend in that particular category. Again, giving you the ability to change by month and time frame to see how you're doing against your budget. We can talk about more of that in future meetings and strategy sessions, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Hope this has been helpful.